All right, thank you, Mike, and welcome everybody again. We're gonna dig into these Webex Contact Center dashboards a little bit for you. What you're looking at now here on the screen, and if you're familiar with our CCX dashboards at all, um, these are going to look a little bit similar, with obviously different uh, options. As Webex Contact Center has some different stuff than the Cisco Contact Center, but they are set up very similar to how we used to do them. So we're going to take a look and kind of build these out. A couple ones that seem important, like we have on the top left with the pretty graphs and the colors, is going to be your agent widget, where you can see current states, and graph where you can hover over, and just a nice looking graph there. And then we're also going to look at some historical widgets on the right, top right here. This is like a handled contact count and an abandoned contact count. Can't speak today. And one thing to just, if you're looking at our numbers, they don't make sense in a real world setting. This is mostly all testing calls and things like that. So the numbers might not add up correctly or look right, but this is just so we could show you that here's the data. But in a real world setting, they're probably going to look a lot better, because this probably ain't gonna, you have more abandoned counts than handled. Probably not a good day. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at our numbers on the screen here. So this is like a total count widget here, all historical. And then down here on the left below the agent one, we're going to have our queue, our real-time queue widget as well. And then me and Mike will change up our current states so you can see how those move live. And then on the right, we just have contact count right for each of the agents that we have. We have a wrap-up code widget as well, kind of show you in order of your most used wrap-up codes. And then I made another one of just total counts for each one of the queues that you may have. And we only have a couple that really have calls in them. So let's go ahead and we're going to build out a new dashboard. Webex CC Webby. Call it Webby. Sounds fun. All right. As you know, to make our widgets, going to go through each one of these options here. So call feature, you could do application, which is going to give you an announcement widget if you'd like. But for today, we're going to look at these call analytics. We're going to pick our Webex organization. And then we'll start with the real-time agent activity widget. I'm not going to give it a title. We have this option now where we can not show the title, so we don't have to put one in there, because sometimes it's just a little more. Sometimes it just depends on how you have your dashboard set up. Maybe it's one dashboard per queue or something like that. But you can also put a title in here if you have a bunch in one, so you can at least give it one. But in our case, we're just using one, so we'll just turn that off. All right, let's take a look at the display options, same as our CCX widgets. We could turn all these on, showing that graph and then the legend as well on this widget, just to make it look a little prettier. All right, so we will go ahead and add some data in here, and we're going to go with current state and a current state code, or with idle code. And then on the left here, we're going to do something funky, and I'm hoping we can get this to work a little better. So if we keep this turned on here, it's going to show agents in any state, right? But what happens is the widget will get convoluted a little bit with some logged out agents. If you have a lot of agents maybe that just aren't logged in, they can be sprinkled out through the whole widget, and it just kind of makes the widget really large. So we want to see pretty much everybody, but agents that are not logged in, we don't want to see them. So right now, the best way to do that is to go ahead and just select all of these. I know it's a little bit weird, but we're hoping to maybe just get a button installed here where we can just say, hey, show me everybody but logged out users. So go ahead and click all of these. We're going to click, we'll log in because we want to see logged in, but then we're going to skip logged out and we'll do everybody else here just to make sure we get it all on here. Perfect. All right, let's double check that I have everything correct in here. Let's change the icon, agent headset. And yeah, we're going to sort by current state. Here we go. And here we go. Expand this one out here, as you can see. There we go. Real nice and easy to get your agents in here and see what they're doing, where they're at in their current states. And if you see my name on here, we see Dre's available. If I go into my contact center, I'll switch it over. I'll say, I'm going to go to lunch. There you go. Now my state is idle and with my current state as idle, but at lunch. All right, well, I just came back from lunch. Let's go ahead and switch that back over. And now I'm available. Mike's been on a wrap-up call for a long time, it seems. So he's over there working, finishing his call. Yeah, so nice, easy way to get a real-time agent widget going on. So let's take a look and let's build out another agent widget, and we're going to do more of like a historical widget, and we're going to do some grouping statistics on this one. So we're going to pick that. Let's go ahead over to the widget type. We're going to do some grouping here. All right, so here we're going to go ahead and we'll do another agent headset just because this is agent. We're going to group this by agent, agent name here, so we can put that in there. And then over here, we're going to put a couple different statistics in here. Excuse me. We're going to start with contact count. And if you're not aware, so for Webex CC, and Mike can help me out if I say this wrong, but contact count is going to be your total calls, right? How many calls are displayed, right, to your agents and things like that. An event count, because this can throw people off if they're not aware of how Webex Contact Center statistics work. Event count is going to be each leg of that call. So if that call kind of moved within your queue, those are counted as events. So there might be times you want to group or look at event counts as well. But in our case, we just kind of want to see the contact count, so we can kind of get a realistic number of how many calls actually came in and not inflate those numbers with the event counts. So Mike hasn't said something, so I'm guessing I was correct on how I explained that.
I can jump in. No, yeah, you're
Sure.
right. So every time a customer calls in, if you want to refer to them as a contact, so every person that calls in is a contact, no matter where they go. So if a person calls in, they go to the IVR, they go to Q1, it goes to an overflow queue, maybe it's transferred to another queue. That entire journey, which is another word that pops up in Webex's documentation a lot, the journey, is a contact. That is, what we call a sequence. It's start to end. That's how long, when the person is called into the contact center, and that journey is documented by an event every time they go anywhere. So it's like when the call begins, there's a new event, there's an IVR event, there's different events through as they go through the flow of the script. When the call is queued, if they wait, the call is parked. When the call is ringing, there's a connect event. There's a connected event when the agent answers. If they put them on hold, I mean, every little step of the way. And there's a lot of different events that can make up one call. And so when you're getting into like nitty gritty, that's where you go into the events. But if you're trying just to answer the simple question of, well, how many calls were there? That's where you kind of rely on the contact count.
Right. And looking at here the grouping statistics that I added a couple here while he was talking, but we have that we're going to do a handled contact count so we can see how many calls actually were handled, and then we'll do an event talk time so you can actually see the talk time per event or for in total for the event and not total, I guess. When it going back to the differences between that event and contact time. All righty, let's go ahead. So we got the configuration page kind of where we want it here. Let's go over to search sets, and here's where we're going to select our queues. Now, here we can select a lot more information too. You can do this on customer numbers, agents as well. So there's a lot of ways we can actually search on this, but because we want to see the whole queue, we're going to find queue name. Type in queue name here, we'll add, and then we should have our pre-selected queues here. And because in this instance, we're going to go ahead and put them all in here. So I can kind of show you what it looks like with all the queues in there. So you can kind of get a view of in real time. Oh no, this is, I'm sorry, I'm looking at a different, this is a grouping one. Sorry, yep, I meant to do it differently. Totally messed that up. Let's go back here. We wanted to do agents, I believe, right? No, we wanted to do one queue. Yep, sorry. All right. We're going to do our CCX support queue. We're going to change the date here, date and time range here, so we can get enough information to see what we're looking at. We're just going to do current previous 2 months, just because we haven't had a ton of calls in there, but enough to at least show you guys what this actually looks like. So let's go ahead and let's do CC support on the name. Give this a save here. We can also pop this anywhere we want, but give you a look of what I was looking at here. So here's our agents for the last current and last 2 months. You can see the contact counts for each, how many were handled by each, and their total event talk time. As we can see, Victor's out here doing some good work here today, or in the last couple months. So yeah, easy way of getting just a quick historical agent widget for a particular queue. And in a widget like this, probably better off to do it by queue. If you need to see more queues, you can definitely add those. But in this, we might even want to give this a title, so we could say like CC support. So if you have a different queue, you could always copy this widget, change the queue in the search set, and then put it below that. So you have your CC support and other queues that you might want to view on your dashboard. All righty. Well, let's take a look at, let's see, we can look at another agent queue here. We'll go ahead and look at the, I'm sorry, CSQ widget. I apologize. We're going to go ahead and look at a real-time CSQ activity widget here. We'll give this a name too, CC. So actually, we'll call this one all queues. Change the icon to that. I don't remember what that looks like. That's fine. We'll go ahead and add all our queues because we're going to let's take a look at all our queues and see what they kind of look like here. So, and these are going to be real time. So we're going to see what's happening with our queues in real time. So let's go ahead and start with let's see the oldest call in queue. Let's look at some calls waiting. It's always smart to have in there, possibly ringing and maybe talking, and let's add total calls as well. And also you can add thresholds for these if you want to turn certain statistics red for an over under value type thing. If you're like, oh, if I see oldest call, or let's say calls waiting is more than 2, you could turn it red, things like that. And that's what you could do within the thresholds. So very similar to what we could do in our UCCX widgets as well. All right, won't save. What am I missing? Oh, boop. There we go. All right. here we go on this one now. So this one's a little bigger. We'll expand it out a little bit. We don't have any calls coming into our queues right now, so this would be why these are all showing 0. But if someone would call into our CC support queue, you'll see if somebody was talking, how many total calls are currently in that queue, how many are waiting, how many are able to call. And if somebody was calling in right now and it started ringing, then you'd see that pop up as well. And I do believe, Mike, these do change colors, right? Within different, or this doesn't have colors to it, right? This just shows you the stats, right? The number stats without.
I believe if it supports the threshold, then each individual
The threshold, yeah, okay.
If it crosses the threshold, then the cell, if you want to think of it like a table, the cell should change, kind of like what we do on the UCCX side of things.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure on that one, just because this one's all nice and pretty, but didn't know. I forgot if the queues actually lit up like that, but yeah, awesome. So easy way to get a kind of a quick view, real-time view of what is happening real time within your queue for your Webex contact center queues. All right, let's build another one, and I kind of like this one. It's going to be like a wrap-up code count. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. So we're going to look at grouping on this one as well. So we don't need a title because it kind of makes sense once you see the data inside of there. So we're going to pick our primary grouping type, and we're going to scroll all the way down. We're going to click on wrap up code. We're going to go ahead and select our contact count because we want to see the wrap ups on those contact counts. You can also, on a lot of these, you can show a summary bar if you wanted to see like a total contact count as well. We'll just throw it at the top just to kind of show you what that looks like. And let's go into the search sets, and here we're going to have to create a search set. We can also add, if you guys have a existing Webex Contact Center report, you can actually import that to create these reports as well. But I do not have any, so we're going to go ahead and create this widget from scratch here. Just give this a name, and then we're going to pick our support type, and once again, it's going to be queue name. Not too far, queue name there, and then select our queue, CC support queue. And then we're also going to pick our date and time range here, which we're kind of matching current previous 2 months. Go through here, make sure I got what I wanted. There we go. All right, so we'll expand this out a little bit here. And this is what we got. So you're looking at our total of 93 calls. We have some wrap-ups. No associated wrap-up codes, 48 case closes, resolved, billing, sale, whatever your wrap-up codes might be. Then you could see those counts as well. So I thought this was a really neat widget to have to see your wrap-up codes if that is something that might be important to you in your environment. All right, I think that's a good kind of overview what we could do. Like again, they are very similar to those UCCX widgets, but obviously using a little bit of different data within the Webex Contact Center than it is CCX. But yeah, very similar to what we can do, and manipulate these the way you want and get what you want. And these are all available within permalinks as well. And yeah, so everything we got, everything that we could do with CCX, we could do here.